What's up, guys? Wojo coming at you. I got a cool video for you. I just had to go see a play called Niagara Falls for my theater class, and I thought it was pretty good, although it left me very, very confused at the end. I ended up talking with a couple of people, and they were very confused also, so I think the director did a good job about leaving you questioning, wanting more, and almost essentially having to see it again to kind of understand what happened. And so I honestly think his theme of the play was about the choices we make and what can happen if we make them. It was pretty cool. After the show, I asked one of the actors, his name was Toby, I said, can I interview you? And he was perfectly happy with it, and I've got that at the end of the video for you guys to watch, and he's got some cool insight about acting, and he's a teacher himself, so I think you guys are really going to like that. I think the director was trying to get across, decision making by showing us how your life can change with being with different people and the choices that you make. And he did this by the different characters in the show. You had the loving character, you had the lust character, you had the one that didn't care, you had the bad boy, you had the goody two-shoes, but he was kind of crazy. And it's just about how those people came across. So one element that I really liked about this was Toby's acting. This is why I wanted to interview him. This is why I asked him. His character was so fun and free compared to the other characters. And the voice, because I interviewing him and listening to him on the play was completely different. He's got a normal voice, but his play voice was very Russian. He was talking about how he had to come down here and like stuff like that. It was really cool, guys. And then I would say an acting moment that I could give you guys of advice would be, especially with one-on-one, I would say listening to your partner as best you can, receive those words back from them and then process it, take a second, and then give it back. Your next lines of how that affected you and how you feel with that. I think that would be the best kind of technique and acting advice I could give, because I saw that a lot in the play. A lot of people were taking time. They were slowing the play down so they could really get us like synced into it. It really pulls the audience into what's going on in the play. And I think it's a really good technique to learn. So listening, being as dropped in as you can. If the play's written correctly, the next line should come as natural as just having a conversation with a partner and just feeling like it's going naturally. So coming up for you guys is this awesome interview with the character's name is Toby, but his real life name is David. He's a great guy, and I hope you guys really like this interview.
First question is, what was your initial reaction when you finished reading the script versus when you rehearsed the play? Were you confused at all during reading it? Was there a clear motive? What was kind of your breakthrough going through the script and rehearsing?
Yeah, specifically about my character's trajectory or the whole story overall? Okay, so my initial reactions when reading Toby, he's so fun and so ridiculous. I was really excited to play this character because he's so far removed from who I am, and I got a chance to do dialect work and different body work and basically different facial hair, be somebody really, really different from myself. So my initial reaction was excitement, but my second reaction to that was how to portray this person without just being, because I'm kind of the comic relief of the show, or definitely one of the more ridiculous characters. There's a ton of ridiculous characters, but my scene in specifics, I think, was sort of like a lighter scene right before the heavy scene between me and my husband. So I was trying to find depth to him, like finding my questions around him, or like what was this guy's struggle? He has a whole monologue about the story of him on the Ferris wheel and his girlfriend, whatever, telling me he doesn't love him anymore. So I wanted to still find the heart and soul to that character and play, realistically, not just play making at why he's funny, but just finding his humor through who he is.
Right. Just be that eternally in a sense during this play.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So what was your, I guess you kind of almost answered this in the sense, what was your favorite part about being in the play? Was that just becoming Toby?
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if there's a different way to. I think my favorite part was getting to be as big as I could be. Like the director gave us a lot of freedom and like always be bigger, and he was always pushing to get more and more and more and more. So I think the funnest part about it was just knowing I could walk through that door and just sway my hips and get really into my Russian accent and make out with a Robin like I love to. And it was just really fun. So I think the funnest thing was to just sort of like dig into the physicality of Toby.
Okay. Did the accent, you said you had to have accent training, did that play a huge challenge in becoming this role?
Okay, interesting. Accent work has always kind of come a little easy for me.
Okay.
So I wouldn't necessarily call it a challenge because how it happens is you literally just learn the specifics of like where you place your vocals and the articulators and the resonance. And so once you've done enough study around like, okay, this is how I talk normally, and when I switch into my Russian dialect, I just move the resonance of my voice deep into my throat because this is where Russians talk. So then you also have to learn not only where you place your voice, you also have to learn like sound substitutions. Like instead of saying go, they say go. So the O sound is changed to U. So you go through all the vowels and you learn all these things. So you do all the hard work before so that it isn't a challenge when you go on stage. It really should be something that's sort of coming across like easy breezy and living through it. And now, granted, I'll say there was some nights where I felt like I lost some of my dialect, like it wasn't as strong, or there were certain sounds. Broken was one that was really hard for me. Certain sound substitutions that I still felt like I couldn't quite get at it. But essentially, it's only a challenge at the beginning, and I do all the pre-work so that it can be easy breezy during the show, and I can just live in these different dialects and enjoy this part of my character. Yes. You see, my friend.
What was your interpretation of the director? What was he trying to convey through your role in the story?
Yes. Okay. Good question. We all talked about at the very first rehearsal what we thought this play was about and what each character represented, and we kind of landed on this idea that the play in general is about relationships and what ifs. Like, what if I did do this? What if I did do that? Like one big what if I have in my life is UGA wasn't the only program I got accepted into. So how would my life be different if I decided to go to University of Central Florida instead of UGA? Like who are the people I would have met? What are the classes I would have taught? Who are the students I would have had? So many what ifs. So I think people have that idea in real life about relationships or about any big decisions. Like what if I moved to this city instead of that city? We always come to these points in our lives where there's a crossroad where you can make a decision. And I think Toby's character represents, since it's specifically about relationships, someone who's made the decision that relationships don't work. It's only about lust. It's only about he carries the cotton candy. He's the lover. He tells people, "Oh, you're strong, my friend. Like, don't worry. You should appreciate the here and the now." So I think each character represents a different decision someone can make when it comes to these sort of crossroad moments. Gotcha. And Toby represents the fuck it. Just live your life. Live in the present. Love the moment. Love is not real. Lust is real.
Right. Compared to the boyfriend who was with that girl, he was all about love. It's all about
yes,
love.
And so he has a line that says, "Marriage is not some ephemeral thing. It's not some childish choice. It's something we agreed upon, right?" Yeah. And May's trying to escape this life and living in the what if land. And then you have Avery's character who has the copycat of Jane in the second act. So it's like a representation of what your life could be if you made that choice, if you went down that road. And so that's why I think at the end of the play, they have two guys and two girls, and they're trying to decide who belongs where, can they have it all. It's essentially about the decisions we make in our lives and the regrets we might have or the what ifs we have sometimes.
Gotcha. Awesome. So, two more here. What is one big teaching technique you could give to somebody that you use to prepare for this role? That dropping in, or what was something that you kind of focused on to help you get ready before the play, right before the play started?
Yes, for me, what I would do to get ready for the play started is getting ready for the character starts in the dressing room.
Okay.
Because I actually chose for Toby to put in a lot of makeup to give me stronger features. So as I was, and he wears ridiculous jewelry, and so putting on the shirt and putting on the rings and doing the eyebrows, making them sharper, making my jawline more defined, that's when I would start getting into Toby in the dressing room, and I would start talking like this to everybody in the dressing room. So I guess the teaching moment there is getting into character can start in the dressing room when you're getting ready.
Before it starts, before you're on stage.
Before you're on stage. And then when I was done and fully in costume, I would always go back to this other corner of the dressing room where I was by myself, and I'd practice my walk a little bit, and I'd just say some of my lines, and it was just to sort of switch, say, okay, there's David's life, there's this transitory moment, and now I'm going to go on stage and be Toby. And so there's the pre-prep that you could do in the dressing room, and the second thing that I did every night that I think is the biggest is I got myself ready for my entrance. Like, I was probably like 5 minutes before I had to enter, because I wanted to rev myself up, because you need to come in with something.
Yeah.
You can't just walk in on stage. You need to come in with something, right? So I sit up there and I just talk like this, and I get myself revved up, and I think about the things. I pound my chest, I get excited, I get ready. So by the time that door swings open and it's time for my
you
entrance,
had such a massive entrance
right
into that.
You have to justify that, right? So I guess the teaching moment there is just pre-prep yourself right in the dressing room.
Okay.
Give yourself a little ritual, and especially that right minute before, don't be running on for your entrance. Give yourself that time to really
drop into character,
drop in, lock in, and come in with justification.
Okay. And then last one, is it easier for you to do live acting or film acting? And why?
Oh. Ooh. They're both different in so many ways. So like, I'm gonna say neither one is easier.
Okay.
But they each require a different sort of like attack. So like for stage, I've rehearsed it a bunch, right? And you've been rehearsing for weeks and weeks, and you've got an idea of your character and your motivation, and you have these lines that you say, and people have their moments. It's very organized. I feel like a play is very organized and put together. And so you go, and the craft becomes about how well I can execute this thing that I've practiced for so long and still keep it lively. Whereas in film, it's way more about like feeling really dropped into the moment, and it may be the first time you work with the scene partner, or the second time, and really focusing minute on like what's going on, like looking at how the wind is blowing a little bit of your hair, and really going after you and dropping in. So I wouldn't say one's easier than the other. I just say that my brain and my body live in two totally different spaces. Like on camera, spaces feel like intense, focused, small, really, really present. Whereas acting, of course, you have to be present there too, but it's also like, how can I continue to be aware of all of my surroundings? It's a scope thing, right? Acting is keep all that, and camera is keep this.
All right, y'all. Now that you guys seen that interview, I hope you really liked it. I learned some stuff from him, and just being able to talk to somebody in our theater department at UGA is amazing. So, all right, guys. Ciao, ciao. But hey, it's only for now.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night.